Okay, I was stupid. From my side, I will say I was stupid. Because how on heaven's name will you just give someone your passwords? Kumbuka, this is also M-Pesa we're talking about. This is M-Pesa we're talking about.
Maybe you're naive?
That is being
you
stupid.
just love
that is being stupid.
You are watching TheArtsinHeart, your home of authentic conversations.
Karibuni, welcome tuelimishwe kwa masuala ya jamii, tutumbuizwe sana mbalimbali, tujuzwe juu ya matukio ya kila pembe, tuwapa burudani kwa familia nzima.
Good evening, welcome to the Perspective Friday edition. My name is Lekuyani Eli, and in case you're joining us for the first time, we do this every single Friday with an interesting panelist of young people that are ready to discuss everything, including when the president seems to be messing up. We tell him straight in his face, Mr. President, there seems to be some little problem, but there's one guy that shares a name that is common with his. His name is you guy, we guy. Mambo vipi, Austin?
It's Austin Muigai here, your guy Muigai, namesake of the president. And okay, wase wengi husema tunafanana sura, but kimfuko kidogo, but tuachie hiyo story hapo.
Tuachie story hapo. Welcome to the Perspective, sir. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing fine, maybe you.
Tonight we'll be taking such a deep end diver, and I hope we can be able to salvage situations as we discuss about this. But you know, we can't have this conversation without the one and only Sonny Gisheru. Mambo vipi, Sonny?
Hello, hi guys.
You're running the day.
I'm running the day. Or the night.
I know, you're supposed to be a night runner.
I'm not a night runner today. I take back my words.
How are you doing, Sonny? How was your week?
I'm good, no complaints. Kusukumana tu na life.
Na kweli hiyo life inakaa inakusukuma, but as we sukuma that life, I hope there'll be a wiki on it. Godwin, the man that balances the equation here as we talk about everything to deal with the law and laws of Kenya. Karibu sana Godwin, how are you tonight?
I'm fine, Eli. How are you doing?
I'm great. Karibu sana to the show. Tuambie, how have you been?
Doing great. Can't complain. Happy to see you guys again.
Equally happy to see you. And if you're joining us, let us know where you're watching us from. Sindio Godwin? Watuambie mali unatu watch from.
Kabisa.
Great. It's an end of an era, would I call it, for the president, Uhuru Kenyatta. But he's not bowing out just like that. This guy came in with some serious bromance when he started off his, his presidency. And tonight we're trying to look into this conversation, wondering what happened along the way. Let's just take a look at some events that partook the 1st of June, 2022, which left some of us asking, kuna nini? Is it the hypocrisy in the presidency? Ama there's something happening. If you look at this clip, this is the First Lady, Margaret Kenyatta, walking in, past the Deputy President, goes and greets the guest, Mugeni. Goes back, yeah. And just before the President gave his speech.
Mada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Kiwumi Adesina, President of the African Development Bank, and indeed a true and great friend of Kenya, Honorable Speakers, Your Ladyship, the Chief Justice on Martha Koome, all national leaders and leaders from across our entire spectrum, members of the diplomatic corps, fellow Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, Hamjambo. It will be my last Madaraka as president, and I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you. We have worked.
Yes, and in this event, actually, the president was in the presence of the cabinet. You can see there the first lady looking all good. ICT cabinet secretary Gisheru there. Musheru. Did I get that right? And it was such an eventful day for the cabinet that the inner core of the president. Something that I picked out of the president's speech is that he introduced almost every dignitary and forgot one person, his second in command. Godwin, let's start with you.
Really, in politics, they say there's nothing like a coincidence or a mistake. Everything is done on purpose. And you must be in a position to read the cues. You know, when it comes to politics, the way you read everything, all the cues, body language, everything, the way it unfolds. Everything has a coded message, you know. And that's why you'll find our politicians, when they're on the campaign trail, they're insulting each other, but when they meet, they'll greet each other, you know. So you have to look at the body language and how they greet each other, how they look at each other, because it's a common thing, you know. When you're in public, there's some image you have to portray, you know. And that's what they usually say in politics, there is no permanent enemy or permanent friend, but it's just about managing, because at the end of the day, it's all about interests. But from where we are right now, I think it's getting a bit personal.
Sonny, do you think this is personal? Because that's what Gorin calls it. You know, Sonny, let me just put it into perspective. As a lady, if your boyfriend or your partner comes and talks ill about his friend, 9 out of 10, next time you meet his friend, you already have an attitude and you probably not shake hands with them. Or if they were to walk into that house that you two live in, you will ignore them. Has the president been saying things that are not printable or otherwise, that we cannot substantiate on this program, that made the first lady pass by the deputy president and his wife Rachel, Mama Rachel?
Well, I believe the game of politics is just a very sensitive area. So, yeah, inaweza kuwa labda the Kenyan minds have been corrupted in such a way that politicians are just looking for reasons to talk ill about someone, you know, such that actually, like for example, right now, if you ask Kenyans, most Kenyans are voting against Uhuru. They have not yet like looked for that.
I believe, Sonny, there's something happening with your microphone. I don't know what's happening there. Yes, please, go ahead.
I was saying the game of politics is very sensitive and everyone has something to say about another politician, like regarding your interest, and it's about your interest basically at the end of the day. And so right now there's been a lot of animosity between the politicians. Kwanza sahi venye ni the campaign season. So I do believe venye Godwin amesema, it's getting personal right now. So yeah, I believe it's just a sensitive issue.
Well, I mean, if the president is the center of all this animosity that is happening, then it defeats logic on why he will say that Kenya is united more than ever when he is having issues with his number 2, the second in command. Muigai, you guy. What do you make of Muigai, your guy?
My namesake. Okay, what I think is that maybe there were some unavoidable circumstances that have led to whatever we are seeing right now. Maybe we are. I think we are being quick to judge without knowing what really happened. Maybe if we could know what really happened, so that we can know why is he behaving this way, because every behavior is triggered by something. I'll not just wake up one day early and decide I'm not unless I have some issues that, you know. But I believe maybe we are united because we have seen the handshake. There were a lot of chaos that were happening in Kenya before the handshake. So I believe when he says we are getting united, I'm not saying that he has done good more than. But anyway, since the handshake, I've seen less chaos. I've seen. I remember there were chaos every Tuesday. The people are boycotting. I don't know what. People walikuwa wanatupiwa tear gas in town, walikuwa wanafanyiwa. But after the handshake, I believe we have never had a very peaceful moment from. I don't remember we having such a peaceful moment from that time. So I believe that's what he's seen. Maybe what you're seeing is different. Yeah.
Godwin,
Sijamtetea juu ni namesake.
Godwin, do you think Austin is trying to be a bit diplomatic? That he can say we have had a peaceful moment through the handshake. Does this scale weigh on both ends?
I think Austin is entitled to his opinion, because at the end of the day, it depends. It's from which side are you standing? You know, because I might be in this side seeing. I can say I'm seeing 6, but he's seeing 9. So it depends with how he looks at things. But on the other end, yes, to some extent, I might say there's that come after the handshake. But now look at it this way. Has it served the purpose? Because 4 years down the line, or almost 5 years, we're almost back where we were. You know. So what was the issue of the handshake? Was it just for a certain period for things to come down? Then we started all over again now, because now we're in 2022. Then we look for another handshake next year. You know, because it seems to be norm of the day in Kenya. We're always looking for handshakes after every election cycle. Why don't we have a permanent solution? Because if that was the case, if handshake was to bring peace, I don't think we should be where we are right now. Because what happens is people just change positions. And that's one thing I hate about our politics. We don't have anything new on the table for us to choose from. Because if we had a chance, I would say we'd have to erase the entire political crop that we have right now, you know, and we start from a clean slate. Because you see, like looking at it this way, Eli, we have these politicians. Look at it keenly. These are people who are just rotating amongst themselves. So today this one is not talking to this one, tomorrow this one is not talking to this one, you know, and they keep recycling. So what happens? It's us, the electorate, or rather the citizens, that are being taken in circles, and our emotions are being triggered. You know, looking at the events that have happened in the recent past, what does it do? It triggers people's emotions. So people don't think in terms of what have these people bring on the table. And that's why you'll notice, even in political rallies, there's no ideology, there's no agenda. People are just discussing, that one is bad, we are the best. That one is bad, but why is he bad? Why are you the best? You know, give me a reason why you feel you're the best. And if you ever notice, Ellie, in terms of the promises they make, they are very ambiguous, and that's one thing we never notice. So someone comes, promises something, and they don't tell you how they're going to achieve it.
Great. I mean, Godwin, fair enough. They made promises, and you heard, if you guys listened to the speech that the president issued on the 1st of June, celebrating the 59th and his last Madaraka Day official celebration as president, the president was very categorical in what he's achieved as president in his first, and insisted on his second term too. And some of the things he mentioned included infrastructure, which he kept going and going and going. He talked about CBC, where he said it provides now an architect whereby Kenyans are able to achieve their aspirations because the 844 system was not answering to those needs. He went ahead, talked about how his presidency and his government has created more opportunities for women and created equality in the leadership, clothing. So we can say he delivered. But what I have a problem with is how hypocritical the presidency has been. Because if you look at the presidency, it doesn't just stop with the president, it goes with his office of the president, which encompasses the deputy president's office. So if we have a president that has not been talking to his deputy, alleged, since 2018, for whatsoever reasons, how then do you tell us as Kenyans to actually settle off our differences and forge ahead and have another election? Mr. President came in and there was a lot of issues, especially the second term, surrounding his elections, right? And the country was split. There were people who believed the country was better off without their president, and the country was better off with the people's president. Today, Mr. President is about to go into retirement after his second term. And as he does that, as a country, I cannot say we are more united than he came in. So there are two legacies he's leaving. That he came in having a very disunited country, and he's leaving a very disunited country. Austin.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll not differ with you with whatever you're saying. Okay, he's preaching water and drinking wine. I don't know. Okay, literally, maybe he drinks it. But anyway, whatever he's portraying is not a good picture. Like, there's no way a father will come and tell the children to respect their mom, and he himself is not respecting the mom. Or, he's showing a very different picture. He's telling us all to be united, and yet we can see he's not united with his deputy. And he's blaming the deputy for not being there, for not doing things that he was supposed to do. So I'm even asking myself, if you are the boss and things are not going as you had planned, as they should go, what should you do as a boss? I think you should call for a meeting, tell everyone, I need to see you, I need to talk to you guys, so that we know where the problem is. But I've even heard from his speech where he said that we lose almost 2 billion daily or something to corruption. And he said, I don't know, I think alisema ati hajui, yani haelewi hiyo story, na nikashindwa. Mi kwangu hata chumvi kipotea, I'll search everyone who is coming into my house. So I think there's a problem. Maybe he has too much pressure. I don't want to assume that, but I'm trying to think maybe he has a lot of pressure that he's unable to handle maybe these things, because I don't know, I've never been a president before, but nishaiachiwa watoi ni wachunge, so najua kuachiwa like watu 50 million plus na unaambiwa hawa ni wako. So nasema hapo kiasi ametucheza, but I think he can do better. But I don't the question is, how much can he do now that we have less than 2 months? Is it less than 2 months? 2 months. I think it's beyond repair. So we have to live with whatever damage has been done.
We have to live with the damage, and I'll be asking more and more questions on the same. We are discussing the hypocrisy of the presidency. And when I talk about the presidency, we're talking about the whole office, from the president's office to the deputy president's office. So that is the hypocrisy of Kenyatta'S presidency. I see quite some comments coming in. Princess Ola, karibu sana. I see you. Mark Jonah says greetings. You all greetings. If it's your first time, karibu sana. Feel at home. And if you're not at home, feel at TheArtsinHeart. Juliet Gitao, karibu sana. And Princess Ola earlier on said the current president should be an example to us Kenyans. And therefore, Mark asks, what do you mean by being an example? Well, let's just find out. Do you think the president is a good example to the rest of the Kenyans? Sonny, what do you think?
In terms of choosing bad leaders, he is a good example. That's what I think. Like Kenyans, I think tunafaa tukose president for some time, tukae single for a while. We recollect, we tufikirie tu tujite kamkutano, because the damage that has been done, because honestly, how can he brag about kwanza the part about infrastructure? Like, yes, okay, the expressway, let me use an example of the expressway. The expressway imetumia budget ya like almost double what Thika Superhighway was constructed with. And Thaio, Thika Superhighway inaserve all Kenyans. Expressway is not even for all Kenyans. Like, hao ni watu tu wako na uwezo wa kutumia hapo. Alafu tena juu imekuwa constructed with a high budget, that means there will be high maintenance. Most probably, sisi wenyewe ndio tuta end up as the citizens. We're the ones who are going to end up paying those taxes to pay those loans that have been used for all those infrastructure that he's saying that he's promoted in our country, that is being a hypocrite. And then also anasema kuhusu education system, CBC, well, it was a good project, but for the wrong country. We are broke, the economy is bad, and then you come introduce stuff to Kenyans zenye hata hawaelewi. They're supposed to do unatuma watoto sijui kutengeneza vitu that are too costly. Well, okay, they should have taken time to learn, to like train people, or at least provide the resources for such learning. Because unaona kama place kama India, they're provided for laptops, they're provided for, students are given SIM cards that have for free data a whole year, fast internet. So they have the resources to do research. You know, students are coming up with, they learn 15-year-old anatengeneza app, anajua kucode nini, like they have the resources, yes. But Kenya, unaona, like they have the resources at internet, they get to learn the types of cars nini. Unaona Kenya at CBC, mtoto anajaribu kujua the types of cars by kutengeneza na matope. Surely, what is that? So there's a lot of hypocrisy in his presidency, because his so termed projects that he had, the projects that ameleta, I don't think they are viable for us. Yeah.
Wow, Sonny, that's a tough one. I hope we can actually get around it. Godwin, for somebody that has been to India, studied there for quite some time, do you compliment the comments being made, rather the sentiments being viewed out with Sonny?
It's true. And you see, with like CBC in actual sense is a good system. But now the problem with our country is we politicize everything. So it loses its meaning, you know. So, you know, like it goes to who is going to get a tender to do what. So someone has to come up with the system. But now behind the system, everyone is looking for how will they benefit from that system, you know. So it's no longer about the child. It's about the people who are going to get tenders around that CBC, you know. Who's going to develop the curriculum? Who's going to get tenders to supply books? Who's going to get what? And now once it's been politicized, it loses the meaning. And that's why you see now the current deputy president says if he assumes office, he's going to reverse that. But what is the implication? How much has been spent on that? So again, we next year or if he gets, we're talking about now either reverting back to the old system or getting a new system. That means there's someone else who has to eat. God forbid now if he loses the other term, someone else comes in, now they want to come with their own system. And then now our current president will tell us, you know, yes, I borrowed, but I borrowed for the right cause. Which right cause? You come here insisting on the good things you've done, but I don't know why you have to insist. If you've done something, it will be visible and everyone will see. You don't have to.
You see, sometimes you have to say the things you've done. Let me take an example of baby mamas and baby fathers. Sometimes you send money at the end of the month. In the middle of the week, they wake you up at night. They say the baby is sick. They want to talk to you. But when they are with their friends, they will crucify you and say you are a deadbeat. So sometimes you just have to speak out and say, this is what I'm doing. I think that's what we have reduced our president to become, that he has to tell us and remind us, this is what we've done. But surely, the borrowing is talked about it, yes.
Let me ask, who should be doing that? You know, it's not in his place to keep reminding us. You know, with the current dispensation, there's a flow of information. Everyone can access information from anywhere. And then the president has cabinet secretaries, has other people helping, you know, chief of staff in the state. You know, these are people who should be giving that information. We have the government spokesperson. What is their work? These are people who are on a payroll on taxpayers' money. You know, when a president has to come every time, reducing himself to explain to citizens, you know, I did this, and then even going to an extent of going to his native place, speaking in vernacular, you know, just trying to explain to people what you've done. I think that's going just too much, like below what is expected of him.
That is below his paycheck, you say that. Austin?
Yes.
Let's try and weave in the other parties. And really, we want to have a candid conversation because young people, we need to be more involved in our leadership and what it's doing for us. Let me rope in the deputy president. In your space, do you think the deputy president has hung into an office that seemed to have spitted him long time ago and he should have resigned?
I believe the deputy president is okay. He's just okay because you know when there's a problem even at home, when you try to tell your father to address the issue and he doesn't, and everything seems huwezi pigana na babako ama huwezi izushia babako because you know what might happen ama what can happen. So sometimes it's just good to keep quiet and watch things happen because okay, I'm not saying that amefanya poa, but saa zingine inabidi tu ukae chini uangalie tu vitu zikitendeka mpaka sasa wakuite, because I'm sure maybe ametry kuuliza ni aje, kunaenda aje hapa, maybe anaachwa kwa meetings zingine, anaambiwa wewe sasa wewe unakaa kichwa ngumu, blah blah blah, and maybe because of different interests that people might have in the government. But whatever the deputy if I believe if he was wrong, there are right channels on how the issue could be addressed. One, he could be impeached by the president. The president can come.
I think we have lost Austin when he was making his remarks, but we stay on nonetheless. Godwin, Austin was mentioning and talking about impeachment. Is that your view?
Let me tell you, Eli. In Kenya, we don't have what we call politics of ideology and principles. If anything, we only have politics of personal interests. You know, and that's why you see, if you look at this thing keenly from the way it started back in before 2017, the deputy president laid his foundation. He knew what he was doing because he knew after the president who was coming in next. So what he did was to make sure he gets MPs that are allied to him to get nomination ticket to get to parliament. So even if the president was to decide you want to marshal his MPs to impeach the president, I mean the deputy president, it wouldn't happen because now the numbers wouldn't make it. And you know, that's why at some point the president had to marshal all now to gang up with the opposition leader to have at least numbers, because the house was split into almost into half, you know. So, and you see, when it comes to impeachment to someone of that stature, of that position, you have to get absolute majority, not just not simple majority, and all members have to be in the house and voting. So to get those numbers, it's not easy, you know. So that's why the deputy president has been there. And then now talking about principles, you see, if it was to be about politics of principles, the deputy president, the moment he disagreed with or ideologically with the president, the end of the thing will have to resign. But now what happens? These people have these officers come with some privileges that people enjoy, you know, and there's some security that comes with it. You know, it will be easier for you to operate as a deputy president, thanks to the constitution, now that it binds them at the hip, because it's a co-presidency, you know. So you cannot maybe fire him or dismiss just like that, because that's the whole thing the new constitution was trying to solve. You know, you remember the other time with the former president, Moi, he'll fire you, you know, you're waiting for news at 1 and then someone was fired on the right side. That is not the case right now. So I feel now, even if I give you an example, like now our friend Man Stivo, Kalonzo Musyoka, you know, and if you know these people have their own self-interest, they are counting on votes or your vote, but they're not bargaining for you. People are bargaining for their own interest. Because Kalonzo at the time, he was agitated because he was not given the position of running mate. How was this position going to have the electorate? You know, now he came back, negotiated for now chief minister. He's negotiating as an individual, but banking on votes from his region.
You know what? Let's just call it politics of interest and politricks, if you call them. Mark Jonah here tells me, I truly believe the Kenyan law and politics, that's what he meant, is a share and tear ordeal. Okay. Sink that in as we continue the conversation. You're watching the Perspective Friday edition with myself, Likuyani Eli, Sonny Gisheru, Austin Mwiga, you guy, and Mr. Waakili Godwin Segero. Sonny.
Yes.
There is time that comes in a relationship, whichever relationship, business or otherwise, that you disagree. The honorable thing probably would be to resign or negotiate for better part or deal in that relationship. The deputy president has seemed to be reluctant on that. He knows why. Someone hinted that he might have been impeached, but impeachment also has some of the, the clauses that have been enshrined in the constitution. You don't just wake up and say we are impeaching you. Other like a gross violation of the constitution or abuse of power or office. He hasn't done that. He's been very smart to make sure he doesn't do that. He has been, or so we assume, his mental capacity has been checked, and physically too. So we cannot say these were the, let's say, issues they would have raised that could actually see the deputy president leave office. He stayed long enough, been earning salary. Do you think he deserves the salary?
Well, all these people, they eat from the same table. So there's no way. Ruto was just guarding his own interest, because he knows yeye bado hajafika kwa hiyo presidency seat. So he has to stay safe and do whatever it takes, hata kama ni like turn people against the highest in command for his own interest, because he knows he still has a journey to go on after our highest in command at the moment. So everything is done, as Godwin said, kila mtu anagard interests zake. So we couldn't resign. The only thing anaweza fanya sahi is just complain and turn people against Uhuru venye amefanya OSG what, just to guard his own interest. But at the end of the day, all these people eat from the same table. Because hawezi sema ati he's not corrupt. Of course, every politician is corrupt. So the game of politics is called the game of politics. At the end of the day, you have to like look into what suits you or what your interest at the end of the day. That's what I believe.
Salary still remains my biggest concern, because if I work, I get paid. If I don't work, I don't get paid. I need you guys to understand one thing, that the deputy president takes home slightly close to 1.5 M per month, whereas the president takes about 1.6 M a month. That is what they have put on printer, because we know there's so much that flows in. Thank you to the so-called privileges that they enjoy. Austin, really, honestly, do you believe the deputy president deserves his salary? And we're talking about the hypocrisy in the presidency.
To be honest, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. Ingekuwa ni mimi bedhe nikiwa hapo, sitakataa, mkinipea pesa nakubali, and I believe that's what everyone would do, because unaulizanga msee, wewe ukikuwa sahi president unaweza fanya nini? Wanasema wow, najenga nyumba, najifanya. No one thinks of other people. So hata the deputy president niko sure ako tu pale, ako tu kwani who even knows, hata even when you ask a basic Kenyan, ukimuuliza what's the work of a deputy president, atakwambia kusaidia president. Mwambie kumsaidia nini? Wengine hata people think that ni kazi ya MP kujenga barabara. Imagine if people even don't know the roles of these people they are electing, then ni kumaanisha yani hatujui hata job description yao, so they don't know, we don't know what they do in office, so we can't even decide if they deserve a salary or they don't, because we even don't know what they do in those offices. Ama wanashinda wakifanya nini? I guess ni meetings tu kusema I don't know. Godwin, labda utuambie.
You know, before Godwin comes in, now that you've mentioned about the work of the deputy president, it got me thinking that sometimes we assume that everyone knows. But in a nutshell, the deputy president's function, which was formerly the vice president of Kenya, is the second highest political office or official in Kenyan government. That is the deputy president. So the deputy president is the principal assistant of the president and deputizes the president in executive functions. Meaning, for whatsoever reasons, if the president was not able to perform his duties, the deputy will actually walk into that office and function and make sure that things were running. But that also means from time to time, the president should actually delegate duties that are presidential to the deputy president. What happens when all of a sudden there's a Matiangi that comes in and seems to be running cabinet on behalf of the president? Do you blame him for taking home the salary, Sonny?
I don't really blame him, because at the end of the day, if he had the ability to do something, angefanya. But I don't think he deserves that salary, because he could actually try and do something instead of just watching and seeing the highest in command put our country into chaos. Like, he could at least try something. Ama a resign. Aone, this is not the government that I signed up for. This is not my cause. As in, I'm not adding value to this government. There's no way I should be associated with a government that doesn't bring positive impact to the society, to our country. So he doesn't really deserve that salary, because if he had the power to do something, angefanya, because he's the second highest in command. Like, he does have some powers. Come on. So yeah, but anyway, changoje term yake. Maybe kama people will choose him, then we'll see if maybe what he was saying about introducing some policies that the highest in command will kata, if he does them, and then we see, then we'll judge from there. If that happens, that's what I think.
Godwin, you seem to have words to unleash. It's your moment.
Let me tell you this, the deputy president, you see, like, the constitution is so silent on the role of the deputy president, because it says he's the principal assistant to the president, and he is at the mercy of the president on whatever duties that the president is going to delegate. So yeah, he has he has two offices actually, one Harambe Annex and the other one in Karen. So ataka kwa ofisi ya Karen, waiting for duties to be delegated. So he's justified to say, sijakataa kufanya kazi, nile amjenipatia kazi ya kufanya. Because for him, he's supposed to be the principal assistant, and carry out the duties that the president delegates to him. So if the duties are not delegated, what is he supposed to do? Anajipatia shughuli kwa campaign. You know, so, and you see, now that's the problem, because when this guy came together, there was that bromance, you know, like, yeah, because if you look at the first time, there are times even when they're still facing charges at the Hague, the president would go for his hearing and he'll leave the deputy president running the country. What happened next? Where did the rain start beating them? So now it's personal. You cannot delegate duties to someone you don't trust, and that's why now the executive order number 1 of 2018 came in, and Matiang'i supposedly assumed the roles of the deputy president.
But don't you think this is sabotage? And you know, we are sticking to this conversation because I think there is a big gap in our leadership as a country. I believe there's so much that would have been done if these two were to coordinate as an office rather than as individuals. Because there's a choice to whom you decide to work with. But once there are some constitutional mandates that demand the two of you to work together, and that's why you say the constitution is a bit silent, and probably that's why we need to vet some of these fundamental issues that were being raised by people who wanted some changes in the constitution. Because if the deputy president has no particular function and only operates based on what will be assigned to them, it leaves a lot of questions as to what exactly the deputy president should be doing.
Then, Ellie, just as we proceed, I want to say the new constitution was a blessing in disguise. It's only that now the people are supposed to be learning from, because you understand the current regime is the first dispensation is the first regime under the new dispensation of the 2010 constitution, you know. So when people were starting to implement this constitution, many politicians didn't know what it meant. You see, so people are learning when they're in, and that's why you see things like there are some positions people were rushing to get, not understanding what they really meant. I'll give an example of like the senator seat. Many people went for the senatorial seat, think like because it's the second house in terms of parliament, you know. But now only to realize when they went there, because all these politicians, they usually have appetite for taxpayers' money. So when people went to the Senate, only to realize a senator is more of an oversight position. So you really don't handle cash So the member of parliament, they have the CDF. Governors, they have money. MCAs have money. And those you find many people who went to Senate the first time, the next time they are looking for governor seat, because they realize in the Senate there's no money. And what else does a politician want if it's not money? You see, and then now
wants more money if it's not money.
Coming back to the president thing, look at it now. We really seem to miss the mark, because you see, like what brought Uhuru and Ruto together? It was the common problem they were facing.
Just need to remind is President Uhuru and Deputy President
Ruto. You know, so what happened? These guys were brought together by the case that was facing them at The Hague. It's not because, remember, in the 2007 election, these guys were on different sides. But now, because The Hague came, they're united by the same, like so, The Hague brought them together. So they didn't have ideology, like they were not having the same ideology or the same principle, but it's because we can work together, because we're here now. How do we get out of this? You know, and that's why they cannot work together. What challenge does it pose for the incoming president for the next term? You need to find someone you can work with without feeling you'll get to a point where you can't maybe reason together. But now, what is the danger right now? People are still choosing, not because for people they feel they can work with, but because of the numbers. They just want to assume power, not forgetting that the constitution ties them as a co-president. So you choose this running mate, you're working with them until you finish your term. You're not going to leave them. So look at the way people are choosing running mates. You can bear witness. Someone like Raila and Martha Karua. These people, it's not like they have a good working relationship. We've seen, you can remember during the 2000 election, they were on the totally opposite side. And every one of them, even Martha Karua is on record saying she doesn't believe in Raila's working style. She doesn't believe in his ideology. And she's on record saying at that point, Raila was supposed to go home. But what brings them back together? It's just interest. What changed?
Well, you can't fault them for changing, because this is how the game is played. It's a game of interest. And I see Mark Jonas says, where each and every person's roles actually matters. You can't work alone. Earlier on he said, and also politics is more of the Kenyan kids game, Kalongo. You play today, the father's part, kesho, you'll be the dog to guard the house. That is very funny, sir. I appreciate it. Noreen says niko hapa pia. But let's really try to bring this ship home as we continue with the conversation, because we are discussing on, I would call them the achievements of the presidency of the President Uhuru Kenyatta. I believe there's very little to write home. Well, pundits will argue that he has done so much for the country. I believe as an individual, what I would have loved to see the president deliver is leadership. And leadership means you must and you are required to work with everyone, despite them not actually seeing the vision that you carry. Do you think the president had a great vision for this country, Austin Muigai?
I believe when it was starting, when they were starting, I believe they had a very good vision. They had the energy. Unajua ile psyche ya kwanza ile ya tukiingia hapo tunafanya kazi tuna but when time goes by, they realize bedhe umse anaongeanga aje, bedhe you start now realizing this small things. Maybe unajua kama amjai kuwa na msee for a long time, ni kumaanisha you will start noticing some behaviors along the way, and how you will handle them, it depends on maybe how you were brought up. Kuna wase hawajui kusameana. Unaona, there are people who really can't forgive you for even as slight mistake, maybe umeenda hapo umemkanyanga, akase yani atakaa na hiyo kitu kwa kichwa yake for 5 years, atakuwa akisema bana, ile siku tulikuwa pale ulinikanyaga. So I believe vitu kama hizo zinaweza kuwa zimehappen, na feel zimewa separate. So na feel walikuwa na vision ya kusaidia nchi, but ilifika mahali now their differences ama the small mistakes, cause everyone, kila mtu ukosea. Kama if I myself and my parent huwa tunakosana at some point, mama ananiambia bedhe nataka ufanye kitu fulani, na mimi nasema hapana, and that's my own parent. What about someone that I'm working with? Ni kumaanisha I even don't have any emotional, maybe if I have any emotional attachment, maybe ni kidogo tu, because you can't compare family na so na believe walikuwa na vision, but whatever happened hapa katikati ndio imefanya hiyo vision ikaanza kuwa blurry. Yani hatuoni ile kitu, and now it has now inaingililia part now ya blame game, kusema you know I was doing this, I was calling you, but sasa wewe haukuwa, na wewe ule mwingine anasema sasa ule mwingine anasema ananitafuta, si kama ananitafuta anipigie simu. Now imeanza kuingia sasa hadi tunashindwa, hadi si wenyewe tunashindwa, ni nani anasema ukweli, who is saying what unaona. So na believe walikuwa na vision, a very good vision, because I listened to their speech that they made, was it in 2013, wakisema that every county will have a stadium, and actually some counties zikaanza kujengwa stadium. Sijui how far that project went. Tukaambiwa story ya laptops, ilikuwa inakaa very good vision, but now execution, sijui kama walikuwa wanasema tu tufurahie kama Wakenya, but kama hiyo ndio ilikuwa vision, ilikuwa poa, but sahi sijui mbona inapotea. I don't know. I think there's something that happened somewhere, and I believe the earlier wangehandle hiyo issue the better, but now na feel imekuwa too late, and now they are blaming each other, which will not help. Ni hata afadhali wanyamaziane, waseme sawa, kimeumana to try sasa kurekebisha, si ku do more damage.
Austin, I am impressed you say there was a vision, but Sonny, I'm tempted to ask, was it because there was a common enemy called ICC and Fatou Bensouda?
I believe what brought them together was that common enemy. They didn't sit down and try and figure out, do we have the same interests? Are we going to do this and this? What are our interests at the end of the day? I don't think they actually sat down and talked about such things. They were just looking at sahi tushikane mkono cause hata sisi wote tumeitwa na Hague huko nini. So they were just looking at their common enemy. That's what brought them together, because if they had the same interest and they believed in the same everything, I don't think we would be having such issues. I don't think, and kama zingetokea, they would have the decency or try and solve the issues, because I don't think, okay, hata kama mtu unakosananga na mtu unafila utamuongelesha, for mature people you just sit down, and people actually in power, leading a whole country, that is very immature of them. They should just sit down and try and resolve their issues, because it's just not about them. Haifai kuwa ati personal to that point. They should realize there's a whole nation behind them that is counting on them for various reasons. So yeah, I don't think they had that same ground. Yeah, that's what I believe.
Godwin, allow me to ask you this, and thank you so much, Sonny, for your contribution. Allow me to ask you this, Godwin. Yes, we cannot undo what has happened. Yes, things went south. Do you think the Raila Odinga factor was a problem in this government? Or is it because ambition for deputy president who was sent to power as president is and became the problem of Uhuru Kenyatta's presidency? Kindly get your mic, sir.
I'm saying, again, the bottom line is we are talking about politics, and it depends. It's with the what side of the divide are you looking at it from? Because from the president's side, he says the deputy president was too fast. That's why you remember he used the analogy of relay during the launch of BBI during the launch of BBI at Bomas, saying that the deputy president was going way ahead of the baton, And on the other hand, the deputy president looks at it as if now Raila came in and took over. So now he enjoys the duties or the roles that as typically meant to be his, So he says, why will I be there? Yet someone came in and took over. He makes decisions that I'm supposed to be making. You understand? So for me, from where I sit is, I would say, for once, because the only people who can determine the future of this country is with the electorate. And that's why, at times we look at these other presidential aspirants as jokers, but some of them are true, and they articulate what they believe in, other than sugarcoating. Because I'll ask you, from many campaign trails that we've had or listened to, what tangible thing do you get out of it other than insults? And so to say this, but media is also propagating that narrative where you already profile and you say we only have, it's a 2-horse race. So it's like you're giving people only 2 options. You either choose this or choose this. So it's a matter of just looking at who is the lesser evil here. But we should get to a point where we think beyond the crowd movers and all that. I know it's not easy. It's going to take time. It seems to be unreasonable, but that's where we're supposed to be headed. Because if you give me 2 options, and the reason why I find that to be absurd is these are the same people we see every election cycle. And they're not coming with anything new that can change. Because trust me, either side that we vote for, be it Ruto or Raila, we're going to be having the same conversation come next year or 5 years from now. You understand? So what options are we giving ourselves? What are we looking for when you're going to vote? Until we remove that mentality of mtu wetu. Because these guys will just come and trigger emotions and say, wanatuonea because ni sisi. But listen, these people are talking on their individual basis, not as a community. Because, let me give you a scenario. The Rift Valley and Baringo, to be precise, we had the second president coming from that region for 24 good years. But as we speak right now, we still have a drought in that area. We still have bandit attacks going on. So within 24 years, if that could not be changed, what makes you think now this person come and tell you our community, once we get presidents, we'll get this? So I think it's just a narrative that we have to demystify and look for ideas, not thinking ni mtu wetu.
Mtu wetu mentality, and I love the contribution Mark is giving us tonight. Mark says, and I think this will be one of the last comments I'm taking, the divide and rule is there because they have a common opponent. They want to fix on the wall and let him or her out of sight politically. So right now, I believe who we are trying to outdo should be the deputy president, and for lack of a better word, I think that's unfair. It's an unfair game since his communication team, headed by Hussein Mohammed, then Citizen TV news anchor, came out and said that there's unfairness in how things are being reported in the media, whereby the media is giving, slightly fair coverage for the opponents, unlike giving him shadow sort of coverage. Well, Mr. Deputy President, why not join us here on Art in Heart and get space to speak out your mind to Kenyans? Let's say we can and we might not have discussed everything we wanted to discuss tonight, but I'm happy we can start these conversations because it's going to be a long one heading into election, which will be happening on 9th of August 2022 in Nairobi, Kenya, and around the globe, where some citizens that are in diaspora and are Kenyans are able to vote will be voting to pick their president. As you do that, what are the questions that we need to ask going into that election? Let's start with you, Austin. What will be your guide in this election? What would you be looking for in a leader? One or two, if you can give me. Austin, your microphone is off.
Oh, okay. What I'll be checking for in the presidential nini, I'll look for one. I'll try to dig in your history, because history can tell us a little bit. It can inform my decision. I'll listen to your manifesto. Is it the same old things that we have been told that they cannot be accomplished, or blah blah blah? I'll also look at your work ethic. Where have you worked before? What have you done? What are some of the comments that people were saying when you are working there? I'll consider most of those things, and definitely I'll also look at someone who is more likely to help the youth, because the youth I believe imefika mahali wase wanakuwa wamedharau youth sana. Wase wanakuwa wameona hutu ni tu jamaa tu, they don't really care, and it pains me because I as a youth I think we hatuchukuliwi vizuri. One, we have gone to school. After graduating, we are just with those papers at home, and we went to school so that we can get jobs afterwards. There are no jobs, and the people up there, they seem not to care. They are just okay. They are, na wanakuja bado ku campaign na wanatuambia the same things. I guess nita have kuangalia vitu kama hizo, pia ni try kuambia wasee ni aje, don't just vote for the popular person ama the wasee wenye watu wanavotia. Vote, try to think and vote for someone who has a vision, someone who you think can lead Kenya to the place we want to be. Yeah.
Thank you, Austin. Sonny, what will you be looking for in your next president?
I'll be looking for someone who has realistic goal, not just saying things that have been said before but have not been accomplished. Someone who actually admits their mistakes and where they've gone wrong. Someone who is ready to try and make a change. Sio lazima ikuwe at those unrealistic big things zenye kila candidate anatryingi kutuambia ndo tumvotie just to get into power. But someone who has a realistic vision, realistic goals, mtu mwenye hana scandals, mwenye akona history poa, mwenye akona a good background ya hana like cases za corruption, although corruption is everywhere. So I think we'll just have to go with the lesser devil, because that's what I believe. We have to just go with the lesser devils, because at the end of the day,
lesser devil. Thank you so much, Sonny. I get your point. Godwin, what kind of president are you looking out for come elections in August?
I'm looking for someone who is real. And by that I mean, someone who is consistent with their messaging, and in terms of saying I'll do this and try to elaborate on how they're going to achieve that. I think I'm tired with these issues of people just coming here saying things for the sake of it, things that they forget immediately they leave the stage. They come next week and they're telling something different. I want someone who has a roadmap of what they want to do. And with this, I mean, I'm not going to vote for someone just because people are voting for them. I might be the only person voting for that one candidate, who will get one vote and it will be mine. but because I believe in what they say, not because many people are voting for them.
Well,
You
it's
know,
about
and
belief, it's about conviction.
yeah,
Out of time and respect, Godwin, I'll try and end this conversation. But as we end, let me take, and I beg gentlemen and lady on set to agree to this. Mark says, and thank you so much, Mark, once again, in selection of a candidate, weigh the bridge, your achievements during your rule, rather your governance. How enlightened are you to give the society, how your manifesto is going to gain the society and common mwananchi. Huyu anauliza, sisi kama wananchi wa kawaida umetuletea nini? That will be what he's looking for come this election. Joyce Ngodo, thank you so much for joining us in the comment section. And as we conclude, if you're watching us, let us know what you think about the conversation. You can follow us with the hashtag #ThePerspective, the hashtag #ArtsinHeart on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And of course, on Twitter, we are the TheArtsinHeart official on YouTube, the TheArtsinHeart across other social media channels. Be sure to send us an email if you have any comments or complaints, and let us know what you think moving forward. Until next week, see you on Saturday though, as we bring you the family edition with Coach Collins Bolo, on Sunday against all odds, and we resume Tuesday with the Tuesday edition, The Perspective. And see you when you see us. Good night. Austin Mwiga, you guy on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Sonny Gisheru on YouTube, Instagram, and all social media. Wakili aka Godwin anaitwa hivyo tu YouTube. Hananga huyu
kwa
Hananga
nyumba. Handle zangu ni za nyumba.
handle zake ni za nyumba. Mlete afungue kafuli na kadhalika. See you guys when you see us. Take care of yourselves, and let's do this when you see each other. Good night. God bless.
We all have to remember that hate crimes is preceded by hate speech. We all have to remember that the genocide of the Tutsis in Rwanda started with hate speech. The Holocaust did not start with the gas chambers. It started long before with hate speech. What we have been seeing in Myanmar against the Rohingya population started also with hate speech. And today, what we are witnessing around this world, with the rise of extremists, be it in Europe, be it in Asia, everywhere, when we see the growing number of neo-Nazi groups, neo-fascist groups, when we see the way migrants and refugees are being vilified, we need therefore to make every effort to address this hate speech. We have to bear in mind that words kill. Words kill as bullets. And that is why we need to make every effort to invest on education, to invest on the youth, so that the next generation will understand the importance of living peacefully together. We need to make every effort so that the attacks like the one we have witnessed in Sri Lanka, when churches were attacked, the one we witnessed in New Zealand, what we saw in Pittsburgh, all this has to stop. And to stop it, we need to invest more on mobilizing the youth. We need to use the verb to become a tool for peace, a tool for love, a tool for increasing social cohesion, harmony in our world, instead of being a tool for committing genocide, crimes against humanity.